We're going to be heading into our third game for CCC 2020 on July 25th. The matchup today is going to be Pason on the red team against team PwC Imperial on blue team. But for brevity's sake, I will either call them PwC or Imperial. I might flip-flop between the two of them. I know on the thumbnail at least, it will be the PwC logo. It's just a mouthful to say. I might just call them Imperial. It's definitely, more than one company, I guess. I don't work there. But I don't know what team. I might just call them blue team for. Nah, I won't do that. It seems like both teams are getting in for a ready check near the end. It's going to be League of Pason, or Legends of Pason versus Free Agent, which is the name of the PwC Imperial team. We should be getting into the pick and ban phase pretty soon. This will be the third and final game today that I will be casting for CCC, but I believe the tournament will continue for a little bit past this as well. But for now, we're just going to cast this game and give it our utmost. The ranks here are displayed in this custom game lobby. It is slightly... I think it's a pretty even game, all things considered. We have two diamond players here on Team Pason, matched up against several gold players in the diamond. It's really up to their team coordination, mostly. And for this third and final game, as is the case with every other game before this, the better coordinated team shall win. And it seems the ready check have gone through here, so we'll be heading into pick and bans pretty soon. I'll watch that eSports game later. This is the eSports everybody is tuning in for. And let us head into pick and ban game 3. And the first ban on Team PwC is going to be the Lee Sin. Banned out in all 3 games so far. And what is the response? It will be the Fizz taken out of the game immediately. So it seems like it's going to be a jungle pool pinch versus a mid pool pinch to start it off. Really a jungle pool pinch, a second jungler ban coming out in the form of Elise. It will be answered with LeBlanc. It seems like both teams have some targeted hate towards one member on the enemy team. PwC really does not want Pason's jungler to have a good time, and Pason really hates the Imperial mid laner. Rek'Sai, yet again, a third jungler ban. These are some really specifically targeted bans to just one player, which is something you see when... Yeah, there they go, a third mid lane ban, of course it would be. But it's something you see when you really just want to make essentially the highest elo player on the enemy team suffer. And it is a generally accepted strategy to put them outside their comfort zone, because if you're not outside their comfort zone, you can't really leverage your experience a lot more. And if you're more focused on playing on the game, you're less focused in coordinating your team and shot calling and all that. So targeting the shot caller, or at least targeting the most skilled player on the enemy team, is a pretty commonly accepted strategy. I didn't expect it to go like this, where they just straight up target ban the jungler and the mid. It is going to be a jungle Kayn, a mid lane Orianna, going up against the Sion top lane with the jungle Grave so far. The third pick coming out from Team Imperial is going to be, drumroll please, probably, since their jungler is already settled and their mid lane, it looks to be a top laner. So now transitioning into the second set of bans. Ooh, the support Lux does come out. So now Team Imperial is missing their their bottom lane AD carry and their top laner, and Team Pason is missing their AD carry pick as well as their support. So in the second round of bans, it is up to Imperial to start pinching the bottom pool, and the top pool is going to get pinched as well, taking out the Darius, which is a very good counter pick into the Sion. So that is a very smart ban. Your Sion will just have an awful time against the Darius top lane. Ashe will be the first removal here, pinching away the ADC here. Now, knowing Pason's roles, you might be interested in removing the Ezreal next. There's a very powerful champion that Pason's AD carry has shown to be very proficient at. That seems very well to be the next champion here. Oh, a Shaco being taken out with the jungler reveal. That is pinching away their support pool. I'm not sure if that is the best call, because I think it's very clear right now that it's going to be a support Lux. You do not need to throw another possible support ban out there. Thresh will be the final ban coming out for the Imperial team, taking away a support and an AD carry for their second round of bans. And it seems like for Team Pason, it will be their AD carry pick coming out. This might just be the Ezreal. Very good into Orianna, decent into Lux, and it is indeed the Ezreal pick. And what is the response? It's a Rumble top. It's another really good pick into the Sion. It's a lot of sustained damage that Sion can't really handle that well in lane. And lastly, a Caitlyn to match the Ezreal. That is a pretty smart pick. She does have the range advantage to leverage against the Ezreal, but there it is, the Ezreal Lulu. Oh boy, if that gets locked in, I will be sad, happy, something in the middle. Is there a word for an emotion that's in the middle of those two? It is in fact Ezreal Lulu. Lulu is incredibly good enchanter pick. She will keep your AD carry alive. She will keep your AD carry strong. A ton of buff skills in her arsenal and a ton of super hard disables. Polymorph is quite possibly the strongest single target lockdown ability you could get. It is a silence. It is a slow. It is everything. It is everything in one. Silence, disarm, slow. Short of a stun, the Polymorph just has everything. It is such an incredibly good lockdown ability towards a single target, and that's not even the start of what makes Lulu such a good pick. Just a ton of shielding, a ton of buffs, huge teamfight potential, and just a really annoying in lane as well. A very solid pick here if you want to mega buff one carry and just have him do a ton of damage here, and it is definitely possible for Team Pason to do so. And now, as pick and bans have ended, we will be heading into the game. However, for the sake of competitive integrity, which prevents spectators from feeding live information to players, we will be taking a 3-minute delay before we can get into the game. But this will be the third and final game that I will be casting for today between PwC Imperial and Pason. So we're going to be heading in the game 2.5 minutes from now. But I must say, just looking at this draft, I do slightly favor Blue Team's draft here a lot more. I like their picks. More. They have champions that can get past tanks pretty easily. Orianna provides a lot of teamfight pressure. Lux provides a lot of pick. And they have the draft that can definitely single out and just eviscerate members of Pason. So for Pason, their game plan is also very simple. Just group up as 5 and just force fights in their favor. And just dispatch front to back very quick, or somehow get backline access. Pason's team isn't particularly that good at getting backline access, so they need to resolve a front to back as soon as possible to prevent the Orianna and the Caitlyn, two champions very proficient at dealing a ton of sustained damage in the backline, from doing too much. So now it is going to be a minute 30 out. 90 seconds from now, we will be getting into the last game I'm going to cast for the day. CCC is always a very exciting time for companies in Calgary. My company in particular does a lot of physical, well, like not physical, but like more sporty events that some of them I'm a part of. I'm also a part of their volunteering team. It's a really fun time for a lot of companies to just come together, have a little bit of friendly competition between each other. And I must say, so far, I've had a blast casting the CCC games. It's very clear that these games really come down to the wire sometimes. And there's some exciting action back and forth. A lot of really good plays being made and a ton of coordination, more so than I've honestly expected coming into the tournament. You can tell that these teams, these are not their first times playing with each other. A lot of them, even while extremely behind, do play off each other super well. And none of them have really made any of those classic solo queue plays where it's just one person out and about getting caught and then the game's over kind of plays, which I see so much in solo dual queue gameplay that I'm kind of numb to it by now. And it's very refreshing to see a really high level of coordination, even beyond some Clash games, because even some Clash teams were put together last minute. This does feel like, despite being much lower elo than what you expect to see from a tournament setting, this does feel like a very solid and cohesive player roster all around. So now we're getting into game 3. Let's switch over to the game view. As we are going into the loading screen, we're gonna set off to play the third and final game between Team PwC Imperial and Pason. And oh boy, the more I look at that blue team lineup, the more I am envious, really. I do think blue team has a very good draft. And if you want to shut this team down, it is really, really up to red team here to make a ton of proactive early plays. They need to make things work. Alright, hold on. Are my scoreboard off-centered? Let me just readjust that a little bit. I think that should be good, yeah? Alright, let's head into it. First, let's reorganize the scoreboard. I am losing my voice slightly as the day goes on. This hasn't happened in a while. From casting Clash so much, I do think, oh my gosh, why ban 3 mids? Already starting off as the hard-hitting questions. I haven't had my voice go hoarse in a long time. I do have a bottle of water with me, just to keep myself hydrated throughout the cast, but I will still give it my all for the last game of the day. Cuds, says the Graves. Is there going to be a follow-up? Or is it just, why ban 3 mids? You know, cuds. The invade might not be coming out, but there's going to be a river war to spot out any potential invades coming down from Team Pason. They're just going to be sitting in the brush, and they've already pulled laners away. So they're probably not going to engage. And in fact, the Graves is starting topside here. The guard for the invade, I think their vigil has been served, and now they can go back to their lives. Ezreal is going to be the first to walk out. Oh, but no, they're walking on towards. Oh no, blue team sees this. The pings are coming down. Is this going to be a collapse? No, they're a little bit too late to the collapse. But I do think if Team Imperial saw this coming, they could just immediately move their AD carry and support up to just start a catch. That might have been disastrous for Pason. Especially if they committed the ward. It seems strange to me that they didn't act on it. Because it does seem like it would have been super punishable. The reason not to would be because if they're afraid of reinforcements, but they should see them. It just seems strange to me that Team Imperial just chose to continue to sit in the brush. But we are going to once again be off to a very standard early game here. No early kills, no cheeses, no insane level 1 buff steals or anything. And it seems like it's going to be a vertical jungle. The Kayn made his way into Team Pason's blue side jungle. He's going to go ahead and start taking away the blue buff. And the Graves, he's none the wiser. Kayn's going to take this. Oh, Graves, walk down. You got to see this, man. Oh, he finally words it out. He sees it. He notices the Kayn, but he's got no mana and no health. He can't fight this. He's just gonna accept that his blue buff is now gone. And suddenly, Kayn, he's gonna be up a blue buff compared to the Graves, and he's still got his own side of the jungle to farm. Very good set of early moves here by Imperial, successfully spawning out the Graves and taking away his blue buff as punishment. And suddenly Kayn starts off the game, but it's a triple buff setup. That is just gonna be huge for him. And the Sion, he's getting roasted away by the flamethrower, and there's the ignite that he cannot afford to disrespect. A solo kill comes out from the Rumble, but he has to keep running. He blows his flash to get out from the zombie mode. The Sion cannot find the kill back, and he will be killed off here very early on, just 3 minutes into the game. An excellent solo kill being found by Team Imperial's top laner. And now Kayn gonna help himself to a triple buff setup. Quite ahead of the Graves now. But the Graves, he's not gonna take this lying down. He's gone ahead to Team Imperial's own jungle, and it seems like both junglers will now share one Scuttle Crab each. The Lux is gonna come out, the binding does land out, the Peacemaker flies past his head. He doesn't get hit by that, so he minimizes damage. So far, still very much a farm game coming out from both sides. Oh, long distance binding. It finds the Lulu, the trap, the damage, the burst is there, and the Lulu gets taken down. Oh, that was way too much damage. And in fact, the Ezreal even used heal, but he was too far away for the heal to affect the Lulu. Oh, that is just very unfortunate here for Team Pason and Imperial. They're not letting up the steam. They want another kill onto the Sion. He still has a teleport, but he's still gonna be taken down. He could teleport back to lane, but it's gonna be rough. He wants to chase down the Kayn, but he can't. He's bleeding out and he will fall. Ezreal's gonna go for some more trades bottom lane, but he's out of mana. And the Caitlyn and Lux, they don't have much mana to themselves, but they can still bind and kill off the Ezreal if possible. Loosen Singularity, that will take away the last of Lux's mana bar. No binding possible. Sion is still hesitant in committing the teleport to get back to lane. I do think when the wave's crashing your tower, you should be teleporting back. He might be afraid of getting killed again, because for a top laner with teleport, the worst thing that can happen to you is teleporting back to lane and then dying again immediately. Oftentimes when that happens, that is enough of a deficit for you to just lose the lane forever. Maybe even lose the game off that. It's very easy for a blunder like that to just cost you the game. But on the other hand, you also don't want to bleed away too much EXP in that lane matchup. You can't ever have your lane opponent be so far ahead of you that you find it difficult to come back. And you find it difficult to even stay in the lane, because then your lane will just cascade out of control. Galio gonna try for an aggressive trade. The taunt does land with the tornado. The Orianna shields herself up to try to trade some back, but the Galio very adept into magic damage dealers like the Orianna. And she just can't really catch a break. The bone plating gonna absorb so much damage. Justice Punch comes back in with another tornado. It's not gonna catch the Orianna. No damage back onto her. But Orianna in this lane, just farm up and you'll be fine. And there's a shockwave being dodged out by a good flash from the Galio. Gonna keep himself safe and sound. The Kayn gank also pounces on nobody. 3-0 so far. Team Imperial off to a flying start in this game number 3 here. Well, game number 3 of my cast. Game number 1 of these two teams meeting. These are single... What are these called? Single round robins? I don't actually know the tournament lingo for these things. Single stage? Best of 1 round robin or something? Maybe? Is that what it's called? I think I was thinking of like single elims, but this is not a single elim tournament. Rumble is going to turn on the flamethrower yet again, but the Sion trades a lot of damage back. That is a beautiful trade back by the Sion, resisting a lot of the Rumble damage. But he's not had quite enough. He's coming in with the overheat, and there it is. But now he's silenced. He's running into the Sion axe. He's still going for it. The equalizer gets dropped. Now the Sion needs to run, but the ignite lands down. He's burning down. He can't survive. The Rumble will just pop up the scrap shield and get the hell out. And now the Sion cannot really do much. He'll just take 1 CS and die. The Kayn is over the wall. He's coming in for the dragon fight. Can they stop him here? The exhaust does land. The hero's entrance is coming down. The Ezreal catches out the Caitlyn, but blue team just simply has more members here. Imperial does seem like they have the positive position for now. They will be pushed back. They are split. But the collapse can happen again at any time. There's no shockwave on the Orianna. It might be difficult for her to fight. Ezreal will clear the dragon for his team. Team Pason takes the dragon, and the Grace flashes over. He wants to kill onto the Lux. Can he get it? The binding will keep him at bay. He will talk collateral damage, and he's dropping very low. The Kayn Shadow Refuge will take place. He will kill the Graves from inside him. And now he has a long way to run. The unslowable charge comes out from the side. The Rumble never recalled. He might have overstayed. Will this result in his death? The Harpoon is keeping the Sion at bay. What's this Q called? It's this Decimating Smash. Not gonna connect. The Rumble will make it out safe and sound with just a scrap of his life. And the Sion committing so much but finding so little. Gonna be 0-3-0 to start this game. And Team Imperial looking so good in this early game. Losing that dragon is honestly whatever compared to a 3,000 gold lead this early on in the game. It's a very impressive performance by them so far. Even the bot lane here for Imperial very nicely controlling this Ezreal Lulu lane, preventing it from ballooning out of control. And it's worth noting that Lulu, she picked up Relic Shield. While it is a more defensive option, it does mean it takes her longer to stack it up compared to perhaps the Spell Thief's line. And if you have a hard time finishing your mission, then it means you actually suffer that much more. Because if you finish your mission at like the 14-15 minute mark, and that's when you can start warding, you might have already bled enough map pressure for that to no longer matter. So this Relic Shield needs to pay off fast. It's only 12 CS for her name and 9 minutes in. It is definitely not the fastest Relic Shield quest completion possible. In fact, we can check her progress right now. She is only 300. Is that 350? Hold on, this chat box is in the way. Lulu, click. Yeah, that's 350. So she's 150 gold away from completing the quest. It's actually a pretty decent progress, but could definitely be way faster. At this projection, the Lulu should be able to start warding at approximately 13-14 minutes in. And you know, if you don't bleed that much map pressure away, you'll be fine. The final spark will not find the mark, but the Ezreal, he's out of mana, he can't go anywhere. He needs to try to run. Summoner heal comes down, but the Lulu has nowhere to go. She will have to flash out to be safe. Ezreal uses Summoner heal to stay safe, and Lulu will flash away as well. Caitlyn mistakenly pings the Ezreal flash, but he didn't. Ooh, that might actually... A miscommunication like that could bite them if they play over aggressively. If Ezreal can just flash and catch them off guard. Because in Team Imperial's perspective, the Pason AD carry no longer has flash, but that is not the case. I wonder if that will contribute to their plays coming up. Oh, but the Graves might be in trouble. The Shadow Refuge, the Kane's coming down for a trade. Collateral damage does not find the kill. He will make it out safe and sound from that trade. The Rumble is still burning down the Scion. He is so far ahead in this lane now. With completed Shortshrews to Spectre's Cow. Oh, the Scion is tanking the DOTs. He flashes forward as well. He's not going to get the Rumble kill yet again. And that's going to be 0-4 and 0 coming out from the Scion. This Rumble is suddenly so ahead. That's something to contend with, because so far so much of Team Imperial's lead is being stacked up in their top side of the map. So right now it's up to the opposite side for Pason to start equalizing the score, but that is not how you start. Caitlyn finds that 2v2 kill onto the Ezreal, and the score lead now 7-0. Imperial off to a flying start this game. 5,000 gold lead at 11.5 minutes in. Are you kidding me? That is incredibly fast. This is such a dominating performance from them. And Pason, they're finding themselves outmanned, outgunned at every situation, at every lane. And this game is looking very, very good for Imperial. Caitlyn's gonna go back, and she finished the Infinity Edge. Not the Stormrazor, but the Infinity Edge. That's so much early power compared to Ezreal, who doesn't even have Glacial Shroud complete. He's missing a lot of CDR. He needs to stack up that tier even more. It's going to be so much longer for the Ezreal to come online. And the Caitlyn, she's already hit a really early power spike. Caitlyn is famously a champion with a reverse bell curve of power. Her early and late game are very good, but her mid game is disgustingly horrid. But if your Caitlyn gets so ahead early game, you can just skip that phase in the middle. You can just continuously be powerful all throughout the game, and so far, with the 12-minute I-Edge completion, I think the Caitlyn is very well on her way to taking over the game. That's not even to mention the Rumble, who's almost doubling the farm of the Scion in the top lane. And the Scion's just been sent reeling. The Rumble just essentially killed him on command. And that is a very bad situation for Pason to find themselves in. The K is the bio lane as well. The True Shot Barrage gonna try to return some damage, but the Caitlyn hurts so much. If the Peacemaker lands, that might have been a dead Ezreal yet again. Ace in the hole is up. She could do something. The charge is coming down for the Scion, but he's not gonna find the target. The Graves is gonna come up as well. He has the Herald in his hands, but he can't find the kill. Without the kill, it's very hard for him to deploy this Herald. He's gonna try to force this through anyway, but here's the Equalizer for the wave clear. But the Rumble Flamethrower and the Equalizer is roasting red team as they're trying to come into the pit. Blue team gonna respond with their dragon. And Rumble, he's defending this very well. He's only lost 3 plates. Compared to a 2-man push, that is such an insane minimization of damage. And because he's still so far ahead in this lane, the Herald essentially accomplishes nothing. 7-0. Aside from the one dragon, almost a shutout this game by Team Imperial. And oh no, the Ezreal, he walks a little bit too far to the right, and there's the damage! Lulu self-ults instead of taking up the Ezreal, and that's gonna be a dead Ezreal. The ace in the hole might come down as well, but Lulu will survive that. But the Shockwave bringing back the Galio at mid lane. He's gonna be killed off. One more auto will do it, but the Orianna is against the Tornado. She can't come in. Both mid laners escaping with a scrap of their life. And the Ezreal being taken down yet again in this 2v2. Nothing going Team Pason's way. Nothing at all. And suddenly, what incredibly precarious situation they find themselves in. Now it's up to somebody on this team to really start making some positive plays. The Sion going to straight up rush Adaptive Helm. He needs Adaptive Helm to try to survive against the Flamethrower, but it might be too little too late. Sword Shoes are complete. Liandry's is well on his way. And if you have those two items, it doesn't matter what you build, he's gonna hurt. And he knows this. He can kill Sion on command, and he wants to make it known to everybody. The Flamethrower, he doesn't care about the overheat. He's just asserting himself in this lane. And it's working for him. No matter how bad of a trade he takes, he will win it. He's just that much ahead. Sion going in for a decimating smash, but it's not going to do anything. Kane's ganking bot lane. Ezra has to blink back over. He's on top of the singularity. They see him at all times. His final Sark will miss, but the light binding also whizzes past. The Ezra seems to be out. Lux is running out of CC. The true shot comes back down. They need to focus on Caitlyn, but here comes the Orianna. She has the ball. The shockwave is almost up. They just need to fight for a bit longer. Kane has transformed into Rast, and the knockup is there. Hero's entrance is not enough to save the Lulu. She gets taken out by the Orianna. The light binding comes down as well. With a teleport from the Sion, they are committing more bodies, but this is not a fight they can win. Ace in the hole, not tanked out, but the Galio will not die. Unstoppable charge doesn't find the Kane, and the Sion can be bound up in the middle of Team Imperial, and they make quick work out of him. 10-0. So far, a 6,000 gold lead ahead for Imperial, almost unheard of 16 minutes in. Neither side has killed a tower. 16 minutes in. This is a very slow objective push, but that not be enough. The Ezra walks onto a Caitlyn trap. He's going to be taken out for the 11th kill, and that is also going to be first turret on top of his dead body. Pason is just out of it this game. All of the plays that they're trying are not working, and 16.5 minutes in, Imperial has an insurmountable lead. This is not the type of lead that you can come back from. This is not the type of lead that you can outsmart or outfight. You need something else. You need a special sauce, frankly. Such a strong showing here from Team Imperial. This is the standard that the players that play at, then they are a favorite for this competition. This is just an obscene amount of lead. Like, just look at the CS differentials here. 101 to 44, 134 to 91. That is monstrously bad. The Graves is catching up to the Kane. The Ezreal is still trailing a little bit behind the Caitlyn, but their top and mid lane are black holes here. Imperial solo laners are so much more ahead. The Team PwC are looking to take this game, and Caitlyn, she's kind of flexing her muscles, walking in, 45% crit. Stormrazor is on its way. It's hard for anyone to face up against her, especially because the solo laners right now on Team Pason, they're stacking MR. They're up against AP matchups, so this Caitlyn goes fully unchecked, so much damage! Dominating by the Caitlyn 6-0 and 2. She's climbed herself up to a 1,000 gold bounty, if only somebody was strong enough to claim it. Ezreal is still sitting on a tier, he's so poor this game. It's 18 minutes in. He doesn't have Monomune at 18 minutes. Such a slow progression of items here this game for him. They are going to try to hard engage onto the Caitlyn, but the Kane, he's quick to the draw. He's already running protection detail. And the Graves, he has to call off the gank. He can't make that kill happen. He's out of there already. Now red team, they're reeling here. They cannot walk into the pit. Team PwC going to go ahead and secure their second Drake of the game. They're still just gonna leave the Sion top to farm it out, but the Rumble is essentially free to go where he pleases for the rest of the mid-game phase here. And right now the call is gonna be late siege to mid. And Pason has got to kill somebody. Somebody, anyone. Anybody here will work. 8,000 lead ahead. No, 9,000 now. Over 9,000. It's over 9,000. And the Rumble, oh yes, he is just roasting the zombie on command. He can just kill him whenever he pleases. The Kane's gonna try to come down and finish it, but the unstoppable charge makes him immune to CC, but is not immune to death. They're gonna be chasing down the Kane. Can they make it happen here? He jumps inside the Galio Shadow's refuge, and he's gonna be healed by the Rast, getting so much health back. The Equalizer will not save him. Pason finally gets on the board, but at what cost? The teleport is coming down. Flash by the Orianna, carrying the shockwave. A beautiful drop, but she has overextended, and that is gonna drop some few great shutdowns over to Team Pason. Lux cannot arrive to the scene in time. She will turn around and go the way she came. But now the next target on their sights, the Caitlyn. They need to take her out. She is the what is the figure of speech? She's the sore thumb sticking out of something. She needs to be killed. 1,000 gold on her. But so far, so much protection around this Caitlyn. So much good teamwork in protecting her and getting her through this phase of the game. Pason just can't get to her. The Grace is going to come back for a sandwich. Oh, beautiful dodge on the line. Biting. She's taking down, but can they finish it? Caitlyn is critting. The collateral damage being dodged out by the beautiful last shotgun. He's going to take it. Lux roots herself in place, and the light binding cannot finish off the Graves. They find a kill. 13-5. They've done it. They killed the Caitlyn. And the Graves, of all people, gets that shutdown. He's in the prime position to carry. He's definitely the most fed member so far. And with that 1,000 gold, he can do some great things. Now, don't hold your breath yet and call it a comeback. They still have a hell of a mountain to climb. But they have certainly made some really good mid-game plays here. However, it is far from enough. This lead is still insurmountable. Team Imperial, still such a solid game out of them. And they can just win whenever they want, essentially. If they shore up their mid-game here, they can just put their foot down and stomp this game out. 21 minutes in, Baron has spawned. 2.5 minutes to the next dragon. The kill score is 13-5, but even that is not telling the full story. It's the 4 turrets to 0. It's the 2 dragons to 1. It's the 06 Sion versus the 6-1 Caitlyn. It's the fact that the CS scores are so jarringly different. And in fact, a very interesting item being bought by the Galio here, a Hex Drinker on the Galio. A very interesting choice here. True Shot Barrage is going to scout out this Baron attempt. Baron's dropping down to 5,000. It's looking dicey. Can they contest this? The answer might be no. Oh, wait. They can't steal it. Graves makes it over the wall a little bit too late. And the team fight breaks out, but it's just 2 members in the pit. They cannot survive this. Galio's in the back. They're trying to start the fight. They need to access the Orianna, but she shields herself up. She's just going to be fine. Galio's slowly burning down, walking down, trying to chase. He can't make it happen. The Caitlyn gets chunked out by the Ezreal, but he has no more true shot. It's 3v5. Lulu steps on a trap. They can't keep chasing, and it seems like despite having blinking house bars all around, Team Imperial, they're all safe and sound. They all make it home. Pason failed to get a single Baron buff off the map, and they even dropped 2 bodies on the way, and that is the mid-game play I'm talking about. They know they're strong enough for Baron, and boy did they just make that known. They just went ahead and killed Baron. Straight up. And Cloud Drake a minute from now. 1 minute from Cloud Drake spawn. Caitlyn's gonna take away the red buff. She's so obscenely powerful. Working on rapid fire now. With her 2 core damage items finished, I believe her mid-game power dip has all but finished. Right now, it's really up to Team Imperial. Secure the next dragon, win the teamfight, push with Baron, and you win the game. And it's going to be a very clean closeout. Unless Pason, they need to work a miracle to get back into this game. Orianna going to send her ball forward for some zone. Light Binding comes out. It hits the Galio. The Galio is not going to die here. The Rumble, it's only on the support, it's only on the top laner. They can't enter the fight. The Galio is gonna pounce in the back, but who's protecting the A carry? Who's protecting the jungler? They're your damage. You need to get on them. Shadow Refuge onto the Ezreal. He's being carried away. A shockwave brings back the front line, but the back line is melting as well. The Ezreal has been scattered. The Graves is on a shred of life. He will barely make it out, but the ace in the hole kills him off. Pason a little bit too scattered to take that team fight, and suddenly Imperial, they just win another fight 4-0, and they make it look effortless. 24 minutes, they take their Sir Drake, they put themselves to soul point, and the push is coming down into Team Pason's base, and it's just a living Ezreal. He has the more mana, but he's gonna need a team to defend him, especially against such high damage threats here. Sion's gonna scream back the Orianna. Protobell comes down, Justice Punch, the taunt is gonna come in. The Orianna gets chunked to have the True Shot follows as well, but it does almost no damage. And the knockup, the damage, the bullet gets carried over by the flash. Galio drops dead before the siege even begins. Shockwave, it finds the Graves. He's the one that they need to control. The collateral damage chips out everybody, but it seems like it's the story of the game. PwC just survives on a shred of their life, time after time again. 20-5, quadrupling the kill score. These pushes are being staved off, but man, it's so expensive to hold off these pushes. Ezreal will call for a pause, and we are going to be getting into a pause here. So while the game is paused, we can talk about the state of the game here a little bit. Very, very impressed by Team Imperial's play so far. They understand their power points, and they've certainly pressed onto it. They attack top lane over and over to get Rumble super ahead, to the point where he can just bully the Sion out, because it is a matchup that really goes Rumble's favor once you get ahead. If a tank falls behind, then look at the tank now. It's 25 minutes in, he's sitting on one completed item, boosts, and a Ruby Crystal. It's an incredibly behind tank, and that makes him essentially not useful in team fights. Oh, the ready signal does come out. Excellent. We are going to be getting back into the game now. But essentially, when you invalidate their front line, their back line will just start melting, because nobody can protect the Ezreal, nobody can protect the Graves, and because blue team, Team Imperial knows how far ahead they are. They can just go around the map, make picks, make plays, and they're picking Pason apart here. None of the plays are working, or none of the plays they're making are working. Just because at every turn, they're either not grouped up, which is the way that they actually want to fight, or they're just not able to contest the 1v1, 2v2s that Pason are forcing them. Pason are essentially forcing themselves into. They need to access the backline, but nobody is strong enough to do it. They need to fight front to back, but their tanks cannot survive. No matter how you slice it, it seems like PwC just has such an insane lead that they can make any team fight work. Oh, but Caitlyn, she might have walked up a little bit too far forward. The unstoppable charge will completely whiff, but she's kiting this out beautifully. They find such an out of position Caitlyn, but still are unable to kill her, and the tank being sent back home yet again. The True Shot completely whiffs. It doesn't do damage to anybody, and the Shadow Refuge kills off the Graves. The Salulu is dead. The Sion's next to follow. Ezreal standing on top of the red carpet. He can't do anything here. He's going to slowly burn down. A flawless team fight from PwC. They're just popping out of the woodwork, coming out from seemingly nowhere, and they make the fight happen. 26.5 minutes in. This might be the GG push. This might be the game-ending thrust that they've been looking for. Right after the unpause, they put the nail in the coffin of 14,000 gold lead without further incidents, and this game poised to look like it will just end. Red team will lose their turrets one by one. Caitlyn 12-1-7. What a masterful performance by the Caitlyn player here. And that is going to be the end of the game. GG comes out. The well played is called. Good sportsmanship. And that is going to be the end of Game 3 with Team Imperial taking the W. PwC Imperial. With a performance like that, I believe they were 3-0 today. And look at that damage chart. Oh boy. That's gonna conclude the 2020 July 25th CCC coverage from me. There are still way more games I didn't cover. I cannot possibly cover them all. But it was fun, and I hope that you had fun joining me on this journey. There will be another set of games tomorrow, and we will be looking forward to that as well. But for now, that is it for me. Thank you for watching.